Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the part 3 of the economics sessions for the SEBI and IFSCA Grade A. So these are the sessions for the top 300 MCQ series that is going on to help you to practice a lot of MCQs from your examination point of view. And I hope that I am clearly audible and visible. So give me a thumbs up before starting with the session. And in this series of the top 300 MCQs for the SEBI and IFSCA Grade A, we are bringing the best MCQs for you from the different subjects for the SEBI and IFSCA. Okay, so I hope I am clearly audible and visible. So let's start with the session, and before that, do subscribe to the YouTube channel and join our Telegram channel for the PDF of the session. So you will get the PDF of the session in the Telegram channel, and the link for the Telegram channel is provided in the description box below. Okay, so now we have already covered the two parts in which we have discussed the demand and supply, the market structure, the national income, as well as we have discussed the classical and Keynesian model. We have discussed the consumption and the investment function. Okay, now this is the economics part 3 in which we are going to discuss the demand and supply of money as well as the ISLM model. Okay, all these topics are very important, and let's start with the session. Let's start with the questions, and I hope you will be able to get the 10 out of 10 marks in today's session. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the first question in front of you, so try to answer this question. Hello everyone, good evening everyone. So try to answer this question. So according to Keynes, to bring the money market equilibrium with the given demand for money, rate of interest dash with decrease in the money supply. So what is happening that we have to discuss the money market equilibrium. This is the money supply, this is the demand for money. With the given demand for money, decrease is coming in the money supply. So the equilibrium will be at the higher rate of interest. So this is the rate of interest, this is the quantity of money. So before the rate of interest was this, and now with the decrease in the money supply, the rate of interest is this, that is a higher rate of interest. Okay, yes, everyone, Sorish, Kartika and Nilesh has given the right answer. Very good. The answer should be A, that is there should be the increase in the rate of interest. So if the money supply is decreasing, so what is happening that the rate of interest is increasing from R0 to R1. If the money supply is increasing, if the money supply increases from this point, that is this is the money supply, and here is the equilibrium where the supply of money is equal to demand for money, and this is the rate of interest. If the money supply is increasing, then what is happening that the new rate of interest at the higher money supply and the given demand for money, the new rate of interest will be R1. So when the money supply increases, the rate of interest decreases. When the money supply decreases, the rate of interest increases to bring the money market into equilibrium. So that is the idea. So this is the decreasing money supply. With that, to bring the equilibrium in the money market, the rate of interest has to increase. Okay. Next question is that demand for money theory of Fisher and other classical economists laid stress on the dash function of money, while the Cambridge economist that has given the cash balance approach, they laid stress on which function of the money. So you have to tell that the classical economist laid stress on which function of money, and Cambridge economist, the cash balance approach theory that they have given, that laid stress on which function of money. So I'm getting the answer D here. So only one student is able to answer the question. Only Sorish has been able to answer this question. What about the others? So that is correct. See, starting from the Keynesian. So the Keynes said that the demand for money is for the three motives. That is the transactionary demand for money, that for the transactions you demand the money, for the speculative purposes you demand the money, and for the precautionary purpose you demand the money. Okay, so transactionary demand for money is actually using the money for medium of exchange. If you want to do transactions with the money, so that means you are using that money as a medium of exchange. If you want to keep the money, with yourself so that you can invest in the future when the interest rate rises, or you want to keep the money with yourself for any kind of precautionary activity, that what if I fall sick, I would require the money. So this is the store of money. This is the store of value, we can say. So you are storing the money to use it for the speculative purpose or to use it for the precautionary purpose. So money, as per Keynes, has three motives. That is for the function of that is money is working as the medium of exchange and the money is working as the store of value. So the classical economists, they believe that the money only work as the medium of exchange. The money work as the medium of exchange. That means you demand the money for the transactionary purpose, and the Cambridge economists said that money work as a store of value. You are having the money, you are demanding the money so that you can store the value of money with yourself. Okay, so that's why I hope now it is clear that the classical economist laid stress on the medium of exchange function of money, and Cambridge economists laid stress on the store of value function of money. So that is the whole idea. You can also read it here, that the cash balance theory has focused on the function of money as a store of value, while the Fisher, that is the classical economist, has used the money as a medium of exchange. Okay. Next is, what is the shape of the demand for money when the economy is in the liquidity trap? So now you have to tell me that what is the shape of demand for money when the economy is in liquidity trap. Okay. So here, this is the supply of money. This is the demand for money. Now, what is the shape of the demand of money? So this is the demand for money. What is the shape of demand for money when it is in liquidity trap? So it is perfectly elastic. Yes, very good, Nilesh, very good, Sorish. It is perfectly elastic. It is perfectly elastic means at a low rate of interest, whatever the money supply is, the money supply is here, or the money supply is here, or the money supply is here. Whatever the money supply is, you will want to hold all the money with yourself. So when the rate of interest is very, very, very low, the economy is in the liquidity trap. The economy is in the liquidity trap. At this point, when the rate of interest is so low, the demand for money has become perfectly elastic. Okay, so demand for money is actually downward sloping. As the rate of interest decreases, you want to hold more and more money. So the simple idea is that the demand for money has an inverse relationship with the rate of interest. As the rate of interest is increasing, you will want to hold less money. As the rate of interest is decreasing, you will want to hold more money. Okay, the demand for money will increase. At a very low rate of interest, the demand for money will become perfectly elastic. At a very low rate of interest, the demand for money will become perfectly elastic. That means at this rate of interest, you will want to hold all the money supply that is present in the economy. Okay, so the liquidity trap is that at a very low rate of interest, people will hold with them as inactive balances any amount of money they come to have. So even if the money supply is increasing, you are holding all the money with yourself. Even if the money supply is decreasing, if you are in the liquidity trap, you are holding all the money that is available in the economy. You do not want to save it, you do not want to invest it, because the rate of interest is very, very low. So as per the Keynes liquidity preference theory, read this question very carefully and then try to answer this question. This is a very easy question, but it seems complicated. Okay, as per the Keynes liquidity preference theory, at the money market equilibrium, when the money supply is 300, the demand for money can be shown as which of the following equations? So try to put your logic and try to answer this question. So what should be the right answer here? Do write the question number also, so that I am able to understand that who is giving the answer first. So Keynes liquidity preference, Keynes has said that the money supply is this, the demand for money is like this. So at the equilibrium level of, okay, Sorish has said C, Nilesh is also saying C. Is it correct? What is the meaning of this equation? Y is equal to 300 minus 2y. Is it making any sense? The income is related to income. Is it making any sense? So see, at the equilibrium point, at the money market equilibrium, the demand for money is equal to supply of money. That means if the supply of money is 300 crores, the demand for money is also 300 crores. Now 300, here you can see that, okay, the demand for money is 300. The demand for money is 300. Now the demand for money, that is 300, it depends upon the income and it depends upon the rate of interest. The demand for money is positively related to the income and the demand for money is negatively related to the rate of interest. So this is actually what the equation is showing. So the demand for money is positively related to the income and the demand for money is negatively related to the rate of interest. And this is perfectly shown by this equation. That is actually making some sense. Are you able to understand now? Are you able to understand? So it has been said that the transactional demand for money, the Keynes believed that there are three motives to hold the money. You are demanding the money for the transactionary motive, that is for the transactionary purpose. So if your income is high, you will want to hold more money for the transaction purposes. If your income is high, you will want to hold more money for the precautionary motive. And if your rate of interest is high, you will want to hold less money for the speculative demand of money, because at the high rate of interest you would rather invest. At the low rate of interest you will hold more speculative demand of money, because when the rate of interest is low you will not want to invest, you would rather hold the money so that you can invest when the rate of interest increases. So at the low rate of interest, your demand for money, speculative demand for money, is high, because you hold the money so that you can invest it when there is the high rate of interest. Okay, so that means the speculative demand for money, it depends upon the rate of interest, and the speculative demand for money inversely depends upon the rate of interest. The transactionary demand of money and the precautionary demand for money, they depend positively on the income. That means the total money supply, the total demand for money, that is the demand for money for the transactionary purposes, for the precautionary purposes, for the speculative purposes, the total demand for money, it positively depends upon the level of income. And it inversely or it negatively depends upon the rate of interest. So this is your demand for money. So demand for money positively depends upon the level of income and it inversely depends upon the rate of interest. What is the demand for money? That is equal to supply of money. At the equilibrium, the demand for money is equal to supply of money. So if the demand for supply of money is 300, the demand for money will also be 300. That will positively depend upon the level of income and negatively on the rate of interest. So this is the equation that will actually make some sense. Okay. So now moving forward, before moving forward, there is an announcement for you all that if you have not heard about this, that EduTap has brought for you the SEBI Grade A 2024 test series, that is for the phase 1 and phase 2 also, as well as for the specifically phase 2 also. The test series is available where you are getting the chapter wise test, the full length test, the current affairs test, the solved previous year questions, so that you can attempt a lot of questions and you can be prepared from the examination perspective. Okay, there is the flat 55% off that is going on and you can use the code SEBI55 to enroll in these batches. Okay, so if you want to prepare in the integrated manner for the phase 1 and phase 2, you can take this test series, or if you want to practice more and more questions for the phase 2, you can take the phase 2 specific test series. Okay, but you should solve a lot of MCQs that you can get through this test series. So now moving forward to our fifth question, try to answer this question, and such a question has come in the previous year also. In the 2022, there was the question on the basis of the monetary base, that is the high powered money or the monetary base or the reserve money. The formula of this was asked. So here the formula is given. You have to tell that which of the following is correct. So yes, I have started getting the answer. So the C is the correct statement here. The C is the correct statement here, or the CM3 is actually the correct formula for this. That is M3 is equal to M1 plus time deposits with the banks. Okay, so M1 is your currency with the public, the demand deposits plus the other deposits. M2 is M1 plus the savings deposits with the post office savings bank. The M3 is known as the broad money, and this is actually how the Reserve Bank of India calculate the money supply in the country by using the M3. So the money supply have different measures, the M1, M2, M3, M4. The M1 is the narrow money, and this is the most liquid kind of money. Okay, then there is the M2. The M3 is known as the broad money, and this is actually the measure of the money supply that is used by the Reserve Bank of India. M4 is the M3 plus the total deposits with the Post Office Savings Organization, excluding the contribution made by the public to the national saving certificates. The certificates are not included in the money supply measure. Now the M0, that is also known as the high powered money, or the monetary base, or the reserve money. This is the actual money that is printed by the Reserve Bank of India or the Government of India. So M0, the high powered money or the reserve money, this is the money that is actually issued by the RBI and the government. So this is the currency in circulation, that is the cash with banks in the physical form, or the cash with banks, as well as currency in circulation, that is the cash with public, the currency with public. Okay, so currency in circulation means the currency with public as well as the cash with banks. So bankers deposit with RBI, that means the CRR, the cash reserve ratio that the banks have to keep with the RBI, as well as the other money that the banks are keeping with RBI. So that is bankers deposit with RBI and the other deposits with the RBI. So this all forms the high powered money, that is actually the currency that is issued by the RBI and government. Okay, from the high powered money, the banks are using this high powered money to create the money supply. So you all know that only the RBI and the government can print the money. Okay, RBI can print the notes, the government prints the or issues the coins. So only the RBI and government can issue the currency in the country, but the banks are also able to create the money supply through the process of credit creation. So they are taking this high powered money. Let's say that they are getting the deposit, the banks, they are getting the deposit from some person. The bank is lending this money out. Okay, after keeping some reserves, the bank is lending this money out, that is going as the deposit in some other bank. Now the other bank is using this money, is using these deposits and keeping the reserves and lending the money out, that is going to some other bank account. And in this way, the 100 rupees, the reserve were kept of 10 rupees, the lending was of 90 rupees, which became the deposits of some other bank. The 10% that we can say, that is 9 rupees was kept as reserve, 81 rupees was lent. So from the 100 rupees, then there was the 90, then 81. So the money supply can be created by the banks through the process of credit creation by using the demand deposits. That's why there is the difference between the high powered money and the M1. The high powered money do not take into account the demand deposits or the deposits with the the demand deposits or the deposits that the bank are keeping. Okay, it only take into account the currency in circulation, that is the actual cash with public, as well as the actual cash with the banks that the banks are keeping in the form of reserves also. Bankers deposit with the RBI and the other deposits. But in the money supply, we also take into account the demand deposits that are present in the bank accounts. Okay, that are present in the bank accounts, that is used to create the currency. So that is the basic idea. So here you can see that this is the high powered money, that is the currency in the hands of public, as well as the cash reserves of the banks. Out of this high powered money, that is the actual money that is issued by the RBI or the government, there is the money supply that is created. Okay, now you have to tell me that the process of money multiplier, it is how it is related with the currency deposit ratio and the reserve ratio. So try to answer this. Okay, I'm getting the answer C, that is absolutely correct. So see, the high powered money can be used to create the money supply, Now, how much from the high powered money of 100 rupees, how much money supply can be created? Let's say it is 500. That means from the 100 rupees, 500 of the money supply is created. That is the money multiplier is 5. Money multiplier shows the money supply divided by high powered money. So that is, or we can say the high powered money multiplied by money multiplier is equal to money supply. So high powered money is 100 multiplied by the money multiplier, that is 5, so money supply is 500. Okay, money multiplier shows that with the increase in the high powered money, how much of the increase is coming in the money supply. Money multiplier inversely depends upon the currency deposit ratio. That means if the currency deposit ratio is increasing, that means you are keeping more currency with yourself, that is public is keeping more currency with itself and is depositing less currency, then the money multiplier will be less, because the money multiplier is created on the basis of the demand deposits. So if the demand deposits are less, if the currency deposit ratio is high, that means the demand deposits are less, that means the money multiplier will be less. If the reserves are high, if the banks have to keep high reserves, that means they will have to keep more money with themselves, they will be able to do less credit creation, they will be able to create less money supply, so the money multiplier will be low. So remember that the money multiplier formula is 1 plus k divided by k plus r. R is the reserve ratio and the k is the currency to deposit ratio, currency deposit ratio. So the money multiplier inversely depends upon the currency deposit ratio and the reserve ratio. If the currency deposit ratio is increasing or if the reserve ratio is increasing, money multiplier will decrease and vice versa. And this is the formula of money multiplier. The money supply divided by high powered money, or the money multiplier, can be calculated through this formula, that is 1 plus k. So money multiplier is calculated through this formula. Okay, to show that if the high powered money is increasing by 100, let's say money multiplier is calculated at 5, so the money supply will increase by 500. So this is the whole idea that I wanted to provide to you, so that you have the clarity. Okay. Yes, nice. Next question is, the LM curve will shift rightwards when the dash. The LM curve will shift rightwards when see LM curve. This is the LM curve, that is upward sloping. Here is the rate of interest, here is the level of income. It will shift rightwards when at the same level of income, the rate of interest is decreasing. The rate of interest is decreasing from R0 to R1. So expected inflation rate cannot affect the rate of interest. The autonomous consumption declines, so it doesn't directly affect the rate of interest. Real money demand declines. So that means this is the demand for money. So at the constant income, if the demand for money is declining, so yes, the rate of interest will directly decline. The rate of interest will directly decline. That's why the C is the right answer. If the money supply declines, so the rate of interest will actually increase. Okay, but we want the rate of interest to decrease. If the LM curve will have to shift rightwards. So LM curve will shift rightwards when the demand for money is declining, with the constant level of income. So that is the idea. Okay, expansionary monetary policy. Now if the expansionary monetary policy is happening, then there will be the rightward shift or the leftward shift in the LM curve. Anyone can tell me? So if there is the expansionary monetary policy, that means money supply was like this, money supply was this, and this is the demand for money, so the rate of interest was R0. Now the money supply has increased from MS to MS1. That means the rate of interest, if the money supply is increasing and is greater than the demand for money, the rate of interest will start decreasing. So rate of interest is decreasing, that means at the same level of income, the level of income has not changed. At the same level of income, the rate of interest is declining. That means the LM curve will shift rightwards. Yes, very good. LM curve will shift rightwards. Absolutely correct, everyone. The LM curve will shift rightwards. So expansionary monetary policy leads to the rightward shift in the LM curve. Okay. Next is, which of the following statement is correct in regards to the IS curve? So read the statement carefully and try to answer this. So first of all, the IS curve represents various combination. IS curve is like this. It represents the various combination of the rate of interest and the level of income, along which the goods market is in equilibrium. Okay, so IS curve represents the combination of rate of interest and the level of income where the goods market is in equilibrium. A contractionary fiscal policy, that means at the same rate of interest, contractionary fiscal policy, that means government expenditure is reducing or the taxes are increasing. So due to which, if the government expenditure is reducing, that means the aggregate demand is reducing. Aggregate demand is equal to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure. So if government expenditure is reducing, aggregate demand is reducing. This is aggregate demand, this is aggregate supply. If the aggregate demand is reducing, that means level of income is reducing. So at the same rate of interest, the level of income has reduced. So that means there is a leftward shift in the IS curve. IS curve slope downwards. Yes, IS curve slopes downwards. That means with the decline in the rate of interest, the investment actually increases. With the increase in investment, aggregate demand, with the increase in investment, aggregate demand increases. With the increase in aggregate demand, the level of income increases. That's why when the rate of interest is declining, the level of income is increasing. So when the rate of interest is declining, the level of income is increasing. Okay, so remember this, that they have IS curve is downward sloping because they have rate of interest and the level of income have inverse relationship. If the rate of interest is declining, level of income should increase. Okay, so this is not correct. IS curve will be flatter when the investment demand curve is more elastic. That means the investment demand is more elastic to the rate of interest, and with the decline in the rate of interest, there is huge increase in the investment. That means there is huge increase in the level of income. So yes, IS curve will be flatter when the investment demand curve is more elastic and when the value of investment multiplier is high. So this is correct. So the D is the right answer here. Yes, absolutely correct, both of you. So this is what we have discussed, that the IS curve is downward sloping. IS curve is downward sloping because there is inverse relationship between the rate of interest and level of income, and the IS curve is flatter when the investment demand curve is more elastic and when the value of investment multiplier is higher. You can understand that the LM curve will be steeper when the demand for money is more elastic to the income and when the demand for money is less elastic to the rate of interest. Flatter LM curve when the demand for money is more elastic to the rate of interest and when the demand for money is less elastic to the level of income. So this is what you have to remember, that when the LM curve is steeper, when the LM curve is flatter. In the ISLM model, a decrease in the rate of interest would be the result of which of the following? So this is your IS curve, this is your LM curve. IS curve shows that the rate of interest and the level of income combination where the goods market is in equilibrium. LM curve shows you the combination of the rate of interest and the level of income where the money market is in equilibrium. Okay, where they both are at equilibrium, there the goods market and the money market both are in equilibrium. So if the government spending is increasing, IS curve will shift rightwards and there will be a increase in the rate of interest rather than decrease. If the decrease in taxes, that means taxes are decreasing, again what will happen? If the taxes are decreasing, the IS curve will shift rightwards so that the income can increase, and with this the rate of interest will increase. Increase in money supply. So when the money supply is increasing, then actually the rate of interest is going to decrease because the LM curve will shift rightwards. With the increase in the money supply, with the expansionary monetary policy, LM curve will shift rightwards. LM curve will shift rightwards and there will be the decrease in the rate of interest. There will be decrease in the rate of interest. So you should be very clear in the ISLM model if you want to answer this question. Okay, but the concept is very easy to understand. Once you have gone through it once, that if the government spending is increasing, that means aggregate demand is increasing, that means income level will increase. IS curve will shift rightwards because at the same rate of interest, the income level is increasing. Okay. So in this case, with the LM curve, the rate of interest will increase because the level of income is increasing. The rate of interest will also increase. So if the money supply is increasing, LM curve will shift downwards, will shift rightwards. So in this case, what will happen? That the rate of interest will decrease. If the money supply is increasing, the rate of interest will decrease. Okay. So the next question is, so the C is the right answer here, that increase in money supply reduces the rate of interest in the ISLM model. Next is, which of the following factor is not responsible for the demand pull inflation? So such kind of question has come in the previous year where it was asked directly. So try to answer this question now. So if the money supply is increasing, the people will have more money in their hands. When the people have more money in their hands, that means the people will be able to demand more, and this will lead to the aggregate demand will increase. The aggregate supply takes time to increase, so the inflation will come. This is the demand pull inflation. That is because of the increase in the aggregate demand. Increase in exports. If the exports are increasing, that means the aggregate demand, that is the consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus net exports. So if the net exports are increasing, aggregate demand will increase, and if the aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply, demand pull inflation is going to come. The demand is pulling the inflation, the demand is pulling the prices. If the aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply, the prices rises. Increase in disposable income. If your disposable income is increasing, disposable income is equal to consumption plus saving. So if this is increasing, the consumption and the saving both are going to increase. So with the increase in consumption, aggregate demand will increase, that will be greater than aggregate supply. Now coming to the next point, increase in cost of raw material. If the cost of raw material is increasing, that means the cost of production is increasing. That means the prices are going to increase because of the cost push inflation. The cost push inflation. The cost is being pushed by the inflation. The cost is being raised by the inflation. So that is the idea. So all of these three were the reasons of the demand pull inflation. They can be the reasons of the demand pull inflation, but the cost of raw material, they increase the prices because of the cost push inflation. If the oil prices are increasing, the price of the other commodities will increase. The price because the petrol is needed for the traveling purposes. So if oil prices are increasing, the prices of other commodities are going to increase because of the cost push inflation. The demand pull inflation only happens when the aggregate demand is increasing and is greater than the aggregate supply. So let's say that the administered prices are increasing, or the administered taxes are increasing. So the demand pull inflation is going to come, or the cost push inflation is going to come. The demand pull inflation is going to come, or cost push inflation. Yes. Then the cost push inflation is going to come. Administered prices means the government is trying to increase the price. The government is increasing the prices of MSP, or the government is increasing the taxes. Then the cost push inflation is going to come because they are increasing the cost of the product. Okay, they are increasing the cost of the product. So that is the idea. When the demand is increasing from the consumer side, then the demand pull inflation will come. So this is the idea, that the D was not responsible for demand pull inflation. Now these are the reasons that how the demand can increase because of the economic growth. The people have more income, they will demand more. Surge in exports are higher, so the aggregate demand will be higher. Government spending, if the government is spending more, aggregate demand will increase. If the inflation forecast that okay, in the future the inflation will be very high, the prices will be very high in the future, so you would start demanding more. You are thinking that after 2 months I will buy a mobile phone, I will buy a laptop, but you know after 2 months the prices are going to double, so you will demand the mobile phone, you will demand the laptop right now. So the aggregate demand will increase right now because of the inflation forecast. Exorbitant supply of money. If there is too much supply of money in the economy, with the high money supply, there is too much money in the hands of the people, so they will start demanding more. Okay, this is the homework question. I hope you will be easily able to answer this question, and in the next session we are going to pick up the question from the Phillips curve and the other topics, okay, in the syllabus. So this is the homework question. Try to answer this question, as well as tell me that out of 10 how much marks you have got. I hope you are getting 8 or at least more than 8. Okay, if you are getting less than 8, that means you need to revise more. If you are getting more than 5, you are prepared for the phase 1, but for your complete preparation for the phase 2, you need to get at least 8 or more than 8. Okay, so do not worry, try to revise everything, as well as whatever question you are answering wrong, that means there is some problem in your revision or the logical thinking. So think very logically when you are trying to answer that, okay, is it making sense or not? in the terms of whatever you have prepared. So that is the basic idea that I tried to provide to you. If you are prepared for the phase 1, that means you are getting more than 5 marks, but to be prepared for the phase 2 also, get more than 8 marks. Okay, so this is it for today. I hope you like the session. Do tell me in the comment section also. And this is it for today. Do tell me how many marks you have got in the comment section. Do give me the right answer of the homework question. Let's meet on Monday now for your next session. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining.